Sponsored by Tropical Acres Steakhouse.
Hold the Mayo. It's time for Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. Find out what's being served with Mike, Defo and Lubie, the only show that covers food, sports, and the proper maintenance of your car. And now, a man who had the distinction of having an entire health clinic named in his honor, Mike Mayo.
I want the frim sauce with the awesome fave, with shafafa on the side.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another week of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. We're starting off with a home show, and I don't know about you. I feel like I need a bunker or a safe house or something like this. It's getting crazy out there. It is getting divisive. The Michigas is flying, but in this land of division, I think Lubie and Jeff Defo DeForest, there is one thing we can all agree on today, and that is that the Dolphins suck.
Yeah.
How are you, Defo?
I'm good. I feel great. It was beautiful outside. It has been the last couple of days, so the walk of life has been good. I was reprimanded by the Mustang right before we came on a show. I'm going to pull a Mayo here. I got like a dish of stuff that nobody would grab out of the fridge in their right mind. Cantaloupe, apples, cheese slices. So I was about to grab a fistful of Cheez-Its, to wash down or cut the beard that I had after my walk of life. And she said, "Remember, we turned over a new leaf this morning." So,
What's that mean?
So I immediately had to squash the Cheez-Its and go for the apples and the cheese.
Wow. Of all days.
You're on a new leaf, too. What do you got, a chicken pot pie there? What the hell is that?
Look at this. This is from our friend Reno Sorbonne. Yesterday,
nice.
I went over to Heritage. I hadn't seen him in a while. And it's great. They're open for Sunday lunch. Everybody goes to these brunch places that have bottomless drinks. I went over to Heritage, and, they had a nice little crowd there in the dining room, but the bar was empty. And I just sat at the bar, and I slugged down a couple of drinks. And Reno was in the house, gave him a big hug. Haven't seen him in a while. And I thought I was going to get that sandwich that somebody posted on the Let's Eat group last week, that Guinea bastard. The name is not safe for work in some places, in some PC places, but that's the name that Reno himself gave it. And that's a beautiful cold cut sub. But I figured we're going to be doing a show tomorrow at an Italian deli up in Deerfield called What Sub, and they have some beautiful cold cuts. So instead, I tried something for the first time. This is their spicy chicken vodka Parmesan with some crispy prosciutto and fresh burrata on house-baked ciabatta bread, or actually a house-made, what do you call it, like a panini loaf. And you know what? It's all delicious, except I found the bread a little bit like doughy.
No, wait a minute. Time out. Lubie, shut his mic off, will you? He's going to critique the great Reno Sorbonne.
I told it to his face, and this is what I love, Reno. Yeah. And let this be a lesson out there, because we had some posts in Let's Eat Land over the weekend about how people handle things if something isn't to their liking. And I guess one guy went to a Flanagan's or of all places and ordered their little steamed clams. They call them steamers. They're not the Ipswich steamers.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, well,
you eat everything but the last bite, and there's not even any broth left because you drank it.
Right.
And then you call somebody over and go, and it seemed like, unfortunately, I don't like this in Let's Eat South Florida, when a person just seems to be angling for a comp.
Yeah, that's...
And if they didn't get the comp, then the problem wasn't satisfied, or to their satisfaction wasn't dealt with. But I mean, if you're going to do that when the stuff first comes out,
yeah,
you might say, "Hey, wait a minute, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. Is there any chance I can get something else?"
Exactly. You do it on the first clam, not the last one. And I call these people, and it's great how people can see through the lines. And
schnorrs is what they're known as.
And what I love about Let's Eat is, and I don't know, you can blame me for fostering this culture of where people call others out with opinions like, "Hey, you're just a schnorrer. You're looking for something free." Because the guy mentioned, he didn't even offer me a free dessert. He didn't take it off the tab. Blah, blah, blah. And you know what I call these people, Defo? I call them the Morgan and Morgan crowd, because they demand compensation. They want to get on the line and call a lawyer. I demand compensation. No.
Well, if you eat the whole thing, down to one mini clam, which the guy described him as if you couldn't find him with an electron microscope. I've been in that situation. I remember this was when South Beach first kind of came along, and my brother was living down there in that area and had some properties down there. So whenever we got together, he wanted to eat at a place called a Fish Called Avalon. I don't know if that place is still around, but
It might be.
it was one of the original sort of, go-to spots down there on South Beach. And I remember ordering, and you talk about misordering, Mr. Michael Mayo. So they have a thing on a menu called medallions of mahi mahi.
Oh, Jesus.
And I'm thinking, okay, mahi mahi, that sounds good. I didn't realize that the medallions part meant that they used like a thimble to cut the meat.
Medallions means it's like shaped like a quarter.
Oh my God!
If you're lucky, you get a half.
And it was
dollar.
like like a price that you would pay. You say, hey, I got robbed if you got like the whole fish, but
Exactly.
yeah.
No.
So
Now this guy obviously. He
but,
took
I mean,
the time-
I would have complained right away. I mean, if you eat the rest of them and then you show the guy like a piece of parsley on the plate and say, hey, this wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It's a little too late, right? To cry
Yeah,
wolf.
too little, too late. And again, the group gave the guy. I didn't read through all the comments. I saw they were building by the hour, but they kind of.
That's the kind of guy that gets hammered on Let's Eat South Florida. Though.
Yeah, and I think deservedly so. And I'm sorry, if you're looking for, backup or people to kind of take your side, it doesn't always go your way there. And
Yeah.
if you're going to dish it out and kind of flame a place, then you got to be prepared to also have others flame you. That's But I was born with a thick skin, and it's
The
getting
legitimacy, though, of the steamers, like if you're featuring steamers, and it says on the menu steamers, and they are different than some of these other clams that you get.
bigger.
Which,
Yeah, well,
and I've ordered clams in restaurants, thinking, okay, I'm going to go a little light here, but and then the clams were so minuscule that you're asking yourself, why the hell did I do this?
see, and it's a problem in communication because. For some people down here, the steamers denotes just steamed clams, but for the
Yeah.
Northeasterners, it's a very
Yeah,
specific.
it's a whole
item.
different thing.
It's
Yeah,
the
I mean, getting a
Ipswich
bunch
clam.
of good steamers in the right place up in Long Island or whatever,
Yeah.
or wherever in the
Ipswich-
Northeast, it's almost like getting a lobster dinner or something.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
they're big and
fantastic.
plump,
Yeah.
and they have the big bellies. They're known as belly clams, Ipswich clams. Some people call them piss clams because they actually kind of pee into themselves, which is one of those fun facts about the
Sound like you're
excretions.
leading a Trump rally. What are you talking about?
Well, I'm not going to blow the clams.
I got
I'm just
clams.
gonna-
They pee on themselves, and then how can you eat them?
But again, they should relabel it steamed clams and just say steamed little neck clams. That makes it clear to everybody.
Yeah.
Now, this guy who ate them all and then complains and is looking for something, you just got to take a loss sometimes and just say, hey, I ordered the wrong thing. I don't like the way this dish is prepared. I don't like what it is. I don't like the way it's labeled. And you just move on and either go back to the place and order other things or don't. Or you point it out at the very beginning of the dish when they could say, oh, is there something else I could get you? They offer
Yeah,
a
Here's
replacement.
what's good about that.
Yeah.
If
But
you don't like a lot of time, if you aren't eating your meal, sometimes you like it. You're just not as hungry or whatever. Every place I've ever been to is like, oh, I'm sorry. Would you like something else? So
right.
if you are pounding it, like they're not going to offer you.
Oh, these clams are so small. They're terrible. Shoveling it down like me at the oyster festival.
Yeah.
But let me give you and this is a pro tip. Again, I'm a professional critic and I know how the business works. So, I'm chewing. I went in there and I had my old fashioned, absolutely delicious. And got the usual crew, great staff in there working the bar, and then I also had taken again my anti-anxiety medicine with the election coming up. Hopefully, Amendment 3 passes, and I don't have to go through the pretext of having a prescription and for the anti-anxiety. But I did. Pop a rather large gummy before going in there. So I was stoned to the bejesus. And basically, I scarfed down the first half of it. And I just noted it's delicious. I mean, the cutlet itself was beautiful. The burrata, the sauce, the little spicy, prosciutto on there, pancetta, all nice. But then, Reno came over and goes, how is it? And I said, everything is delicious. The interior, I said, but this bread, I said, you make it in house? He goes, yeah. He goes, it's a little doughy. And then Reno, without missing a beat, goes.
I hope he threw you out of there.
I wanted. Did he take a bite?
No.
No, in
This
Reno,
is it.
he would
This
have
is-
whipped you into the turnbuckle and then
This-
made you eat
This
part
is
of the
how
fiberglass.
pros go at it. And I'm not looking for anything. I'm not
No,
looking
no,
for it to
you're
taking off the.
fine.
He just goes, my balls are doughy.
There you go.
And
Which
then I just
he would have said to any customer as rude and out of turn as you might have been.
and I looked down.
Making
I
it
said, my whole body is doughy. And then we just had a laugh. And he said, look, next time I'll know. Just order it crispier. Just order
Yeah,
it
is that what
well
it
done
was? You
and
wanted
extra
it toasted
crispy.
more? Like, what
It
did you
just
mean?
needed to be toasted a little more. And again, because the ends that have more of the toasting here, those are crispy and they weren't in any way doughy or mushy or anything like that. It's just the part that was like cut in half in the middle. And this is why I'm an incorrigible. Uh, what do you call me?
You're insufferable.
Insufferable.
That's a nice way of saying
Insufferable.
something that rhymes with passel. But no, and I don't know that you're in that category, but you are insufferable. I was thinking, it's funny because, and I would not want to wait on you. Let's put it that way, regardless of whether you were the food critic or not. Like when I was a waiter, I always prided myself on doing a great job, trying to do the best I could. I really took pride in what I was doing, as I do, or try to, with almost any job. But maybe with the exception of a few of these shows. But, but and what was weird, like if you were a server, is every now and then there was somebody that was like a complete jerk by any standards that would request you because they thought you were the best. And you were thinking, please, the last thing I want is this guy. You'd see him at the stand there, getting ready to be seated, and you think, oh, I hope Charlie doesn't request me today because the last guy I want to serve is this guy. Lousy tipper, very demanding, going to make all kinds of requests, and then be critical of everything on top of it. And that's you. You would be the guy that, like, when you came to the table, I'm thinking.
I'm a very
although I
good
mean, I know
patron.
you're probably a generous tipper. I believe you are, although sometimes with these
Cash.
calculations that you give, I think you're a little bit light for a food critic. Now, what do you think, Lubie?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I mean, in general, Mayo's a generous tipper, but
Oh, yeah. No,
every now and then he starts
And
going with his 19%, and he gets out his slide rule.
And now
And
that
he doesn't
I'm
want to, the Rock say he didn't want to pay for that because it was $1 extra.
No. I never take policies of the restaurant out on the server. And now that I'm liquid again, I've been tipping in cash and I've been tipping generously, and people are generally pleased with me. But I'm still going to give my notes, like if I find something that's a little off, and I do it, in private. And of course, he knows how great his restaurant and his food is. And if I just kind of want to, give one little nitpick about the bread, he'll take it. And then he'll throw me out and never serve me again. But hey, we got a lot to get through today.
Your complaint, though, almost always is about the bread.
Yes, you're weird about
Lubie, is that not true? 3 years of this stuff.
He's very specific about
And we've
bread.
had to listen to this insufferable complaint constantly about the bread in some of the finest places that offer like unbelievable
You know who has
quality
great
when it
bread?
comes to bread. Yeah.
Joey, our friend at Cafe Seville.
Oh, that's great stuff.
I don't know if he needs bread now after his weekend. I got shellacked in the Breeders' Cup, but we'll talk about that later also. But the bread at Cafe Seville, he gets from Gran Forno Bakery.
Awesome.
He uses that
Gran
big
Porno?
Gran Forno.
Forno.
Forno. And it's like a sourdough loaf, and it's great for dipping and dunking all that stuff. So, no, I guess, persnickety when it comes to my bread. I do have my likes and dislikes, but if it makes sense and everything goes, like in the case of your friends at La Spada's, I think that is the style of the Pennsylvania hoagie, where it is a softer hoagie roll. So I don't criticize it anymore. It is what it is. It blends with the what they're going for, which is
it's their style. Exactly.
It's their style. And just because sometimes I like
you know what's weird though? I don't hear as much about VNS. Used to be, that was a big debate, like VNS versus La Spada's or whatever.
Yeah.
And
not really comparable.
And Let's Eat South Florida. Two different places, two different styles, but and which is fine. And there are many other places. Oh, look, you're going in this place tomorrow. What subs? Is that the former Moe's place? You're already
yes, former Moe's. Don't get confused.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Because the signage is still up, but like classic Italian deli. The Antonio is from Rome, and he really takes pride in his meats.
That place got a lot of raves, though. You sent a few people in there, which is good.
He brings in some of those kind of the hero sub rolls from out of the store or a bakery, but he bakes his own focaccia in house. And let me tell you, it is like some of the best bread I've had with a sandwich in a long time, because it's kind of light and airy. But the exterior has that crunch, and it's just I think perfect bread to go with those Italian cold cuts. We'll see it and eat it and make our own judgments tomorrow. But I'm looking forward to that. Meanwhile,
can I still cash a check there? No, did you find out?
Probably. I mean, I don't see why not. I don't know. They probably do all kinds of.
No, that Mo's
customer
when he was on
service.
Atlantic, the original one, man, and I guess he moved. I think he moved the location up to that one on Federal Highway, and it was a noted check cashing spot.
Nice. Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll find out all the particulars
I
of
think
what
they
you
still have a
can
picture of my friend
can't do.
Victor, who passed off a couple of checks that looked a little bit fugazi from the Bank of Guam. I think
Okay.
his picture is still there by the roast beef.
Did Moe's have any kind of like slot machine or those penny arcades?
No,
and
it
stuff?
was a funky store. I don't know if it was the same when he. I know he moved from that location and then opened up the Moe's Sandwich Shop, and the sandwiches were great. I mean, aside from just being able to do financial transactions there, always it was great. I mean, the sandwiches were always top notch.
That's good. Hey, we're going to take an early first break, but before we do, I got to do 2 orders of business here, and one of them is welcoming a new sponsor, and that's Taverna Kima up in Boca Raton. We're going to be going up there for our first visit this Wednesday, and it's a great place. Greek food is very popular, very healthy. That Mediterranean diet, a lot of good, Greek salad where you just have a little bit of the feta cheese, which is kind of lower in fat, and tomatoes and the cucumbers, and then they've got all kinds of great roasted lamb. Taverna Kima will be there Wednesday. It's open for lunch and dinner. It's open 7 days. It's at 6298 North Federal Highway in Boca Raton. And, it's a place that you're going to want to check out if you're into things like moussaka and souvlaki and gyros. They have a great lunch menu. They also have a happy hour, and we're going to be in there next month. They're starting up this Sunday Greek feast brunch where they're going to be roasting a whole lamb on a spit, and we're going to be going in there for a special Sunday brunch show to kind of partake in the festivities. I'm looking forward to that. And then order of business number 2 this month, we're also going to be going in the middle of the month to a newish place called Burton's Grill and Bar, and it's part of an outfit that started in Massachusetts, and now they have a location in Plantation that's right there on South University Drive. 1003 South University Drive, just north of 595. And they feature scratch-made food using fresh quality ingredients. They have a great burger and this short rib grilled cheese that I love. And they also have really sensitive to gluten-free and allergies. They have a full gluten-free menu. And they also have another location in South Florida up in Boca Raton. It's a perfect place for holiday parties. They got private dining in both locations. They also have Burton's gift cards. That makes a great stocking stuffer. We're going to be in on the 13th at 3:30 p.m. at the Plantation location to meet some of the staff and the general manager. And again, it's gotten some good reviews on Let's Eat. I've been in there a couple of times, once to Plantation, once to Boca, and they both do a fine job. Upscale, sophisticated American dining. And I don't want to basically say that it's much more hospitable and amenable to certain requests than some other places that are in the same category. But they are. Burton's does a great job. You're going to really like it there, and very happy to be able to promote them this month. All right, Lubie, let's take the first break, and then we'll come back and talk some sports. Breeders' Cup, Dolphins, Canes, and a contest winner to boot on the Lunchbox after these words. Freshest Fish Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market, located at 4191 North State Road 7 in Hollywood, open 7 days. Since 1951, a South Florida tradition for stone crab in season, Thanksgiving turkeys, holiday feasts, and everyday eating. Great steaks, house-made sausage, and prepared foods, too. Delaware is not just a market, it's a celebration of taste, quality, and old-fashioned customer service with a smile. Sign up for their weekly email flyer at DelawareChicken.com and tell them Mike Mayo and the Lunchbox sent you. When the Brooklyn boy in me wants a great bagel with lox, matzo ball soup, deli sandwich, and rugelach, you know where I go? Grandpa's Restaurant in Dania Beach. It's a South Florida institution since 1957 that was revamped a few years back by a pair of New York bagel baking legends. Full deli and appetizing case with spreads, salads, and platters for takeout and catering. Grandpa's is near Federal Highway just north of Sterling Road, open 7 days for breakfast and lunch. Go eat and enjoy. It's Mike Mayo's Lunchbox approved.
Is it time to sell your business? You've poured your heart and soul into your restaurant or business, and you want to see continue the legacy you have built. Transworld can help. Call me, Andy Cagnetta, at Transworld Business Advisors right now and see if it's time for you to retire and relax. Iconic brands like the Mai Kai, Mulligans, Carlos and Pepe's, Mangoes, and many more turn to Transworld to help sell. Contact Transworld on Facebook or call 954-772-1122 or visit tworld.com. Again, that's 954-772-1122 or tworld.com.
When I'm looking for some wicked good food for a wicked good lunch, there's only one place to go. That's Wicked Cheesesteaks in Fort Lauderdale. It's at 4824 North Federal Highway, just south of Commercial Boulevard and across from Holy Cross Hospital. My friend Brian there, he will hook you up with some really tasty treats. They've got cheesesteaks just like the best you can find in Philly, along with lobster rolls, because that's where he's from, Maine originally. And they have wings and pizza and everything you want to have a really good time. Wicked Cheesesteaks, they're open every day but Tuesday. Check them out online, wickedcheesesteaks.com. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. If you're looking for a great place for steaks, seafood, and more, go to Tropical Acres Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, just west of I-95 in the airport. They've been there a long time, since 1949. That means they're doing something right. You'll get old school hospitality from the Studiali family, along with great value, for tremendous service. Of course, you could also go into the bar for happy hour every day, 4 to 6, and they have great value all night long. Also, a butcher shop that's open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. except Sunday. The dining room is open every day at 4:30 except Sunday. Go to Tropical Acres. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. All right, we're back here on the Lunchbox. It's a Monday home show, and just a couple of quick restaurant notes before we get into the sports department, the sports section of the broadcast. Hot Dog Heaven, it was actually sold, and
Nice.
it was with an assist from the Let's Eat group and our man Andy Cagnetta at Transworld Business Advisors, who we're
Nice.
now aligned with, and we're going to be going around doing the iconic eateries of South Florida segments every month. But he was able to put out the word about Hot Dog Heaven, being on the sales block, and the longtime owners, Barry and Pamela Starr, were looking to retire. Barry just turned 70, and basically he did find a buyer, and they had their last day in the shop. Apparently was on Saturday. And the new ownership is going to be announced at some point today. I didn't realize that they were going to be taking it over so quickly, and I'm not sure if Barry's going to be in there in any kind of oversight or kind of transition capacity, consulting role. Sometimes that happens. All I know is that my friend Mike Stocker, great photojournalist at the Sun Sentinel, happened to wander in there on Saturday just to get a hot dog because he had been hearing about it in the news. And people in there were talking about how this was Barry and Pam's last day. So he was like, he grabbed his camera and snapped a shot of them, and somebody posted it on the group yesterday. So their last official day of ownership was Saturday, and we wish them well in retirement. And supposedly the new owners are going to keep it the same. It's a small shop. It had been down to very limited hours, only 4 days a week. And I think the new ownership is going to expand the hours, but keep the basic gist of it as a Chicago hot dog joint with some other items on the menu. So that's all good news. That's right on there on Sunrise Boulevard in East Fort Lauderdale, just a little bit west of the Big Bend there, where it joins up with Federal Highway. All right. And then item number 2 is Christina Wan's. The news came last week that longtime Chinese restaurateur Christina Hoyne is her married name, but Wan is her maiden name. Her family has run Chinese restaurants in South Florida since the 1960s, starting in Miami, then moving up to Hollywood, and then she opened this location, also North Federal Highway in Fort Lauderdale, for the last 19 years. She was just, kind of ready to escape the daily grind, and their last day of service is going to be next Sunday, the 10th. And last night, went in there with Val and a couple of her friends, a nice group of 5 of us, and we show up to see a mob scene. It was like the way that every Jewish person goes to a Chinese restaurant on Christmas. This was like Christmas on November 3rd, yesterday, where there was just literally crowds waiting out front, an hour wait. Wow. Alex, our friend, and Christina's nephew, Alex, who owns Temple Street Eatery just down the block, was in there assisting along with all the other family members. Christina was in there as well, saying goodbye to a lot of people. Bittersweet. It was a bittersweet meal, but we also wish her and her family well. And I don't know. I think there might be, a lot of people are asking Alex, oh, how come you don't want to maybe continue this? You don't want to take it over and also add it to your portfolio? He's been doing very well with Temple Street Eatery and some other concepts they got going with his partner Diego. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, it is scheduled to close next Sunday. Did you ever get in there, Defo? Christina Wan's, not Christine Lee's. Everybody always confused the two. Christine Lee's, of course, at Gulfstream Park, right?
I want to say no to that, which
Okay.
I'm sorry they're closing because from the way you described it and other
Right.
people have, and the general consensus, as I always go by on Let's Eat South Florida, it sounded like a place I really wanted to try. After your scathing review of May's Kitchen, I'm almost ashamed that I have been an advocate of the place. But yeah, so I'm looking for. I would like to find a Chinese restaurant that wasn't as pricey, maybe. And I haven't been to Rainbow Palace in forever.
Right.
I don't remember feeling particularly robbed that I paid the prices there at the time, but this was years and years ago. But I would like to find that sort of place that's a
Mid-range.
little bit more upscale than the average
Right.
places that we talk about, but isn't some place where you're just getting cremated. So I was very curious to try, and I'm sorry they're going out of business. It would be nice if somebody could continue, but maybe a lot of their success had to do with Christina herself and
Oh,
the
she
fact
was
that she was behind it.
She was one of those special people who was like always there, always taking care of guests. She knew everybody, and people in there last night. She's pointing them out to me. They've been coming for 40 years. They've been coming for 25 years. All the different people who have come from other parts of Broward, first to Hollywood and now to Fort Lauderdale. There's a couple in there that are belong to the Let's Eat group, and they came from Lauderhill, and they were asking me, where can I go now? And I was like saying, well, you got Hong Kong City barbecue right near you. He goes, nah, we don't like it there. And I guess, everybody has their different styles. This reminds me of the old school Chinese American places that we used to have in Brooklyn, where you'd sit down, they'd have the big bowl of the crunchy noodles. They have the house mustard and the duck sauce right on the table where you could pour it into a little dish. They bring out the dishes with the little tin, the metal serving containers where you lift up the lid and you get that steaming, waft of beautiful odor of the fried rice. Egg rolls that were really stuffed with little minced bits of pork, all that stuff that seems to be dying by the wayside. And again, the people will be definitely, it will be missed. And those places seem to be fading. There's more of these, takeout only joints than some of the places that are more like what they call authentic Chinese, where you have all the ducks and things hanging right up front. And then it's kind of also kind of just really bare bones, sometimes a little sketchy in terms of the cleanliness department or what they're doing. Christina Wan's wasn't like that. Really well run shop, really good place. Like you said, you could sit down and get a proper meal, and it was at that midpoint price. So it will be missed, and they are fading by the minute. All right. Meanwhile, contest time. How was your Breeders' Cup weekend, Defo? Did you go out to a certain parimutuel facility and plunge your guts out? Or?
No, not really. I had an interesting experience with it on Saturday, but I was only involved in a couple of Breeders' Cup races. I did love the horse Straight No Chaser, who won, based on the fact that I believe it was a Thelonious Monk recording. And other jazz artists, of course, have done the song, and I think it went and I always loved the song. Our good friend Christian McBride, Lubie and I are friends with one of the great bassists in the world of jazz and world of music, and he would play this song. So I thought, okay, let me go with a song title. I think it returned 14 and change. I was surprised to see Sierra Leone rally and beat the horses that had beaten him in the Derby.
Didn't you like that horse? Didn't you mention him, or were you on him at some point during the year?
No. But I ended up. Mustang has like $80 in free play. She gets either Friday or Saturday, depending on which day. So we really went out there just to exhaust that. And by the time we only had an hour because we were on our way to Bonefish Max for another meeting with the grandkids. Which you have to have enough ones there as if you were going to some strip club to accommodate the kids in this arcade, which they did win $3, but they racked up about $50 in investment. And I had a little, I would have had a little complaint there, but see, this is another thing that comes up. You don't really want to hammer somebody because like one thing went wrong, or maybe the server was somewhat new or whatever, and she blew a couple of things. I don't, let that make me take an overall dim view of the place. So while a few mistakes were made, we had a great time there, and I think they do a great job. But as far as betting, Mustang turned her $80 into 600, and we walked right out the door.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow, that's admirable restraint on your part. Because
Well, we had to leave anyway, so it was good.
And this is why it's good that you don't have these betting apps, the horse racing apps, which I do.
I've had that stuff, and I found it to be rather inadvisable from a financial standpoint.
Yeah, no, because it's like I hate chasing losses. I set my limits, but it's like I had very fresh. Well, first of all, Friday was a frustrating day because you gave me Grouch, and that horse.
Ran a great race.
Ran a great race. What I did was I kind of did a all with Grouch in the doubles. And this huge 60-1 shot won the previous race.
That was great.
And I'm alive to a $720 $1 double if Grouch can come in. And he looked like clearly the best. He looked like he was going to blow by in the stretch. And he just hung a little bit and he got beaten by like a neck or a half length.
He was still battling to the end, though. I mean, you could never complain about it. And that was a handicap. It wasn't really a tip horse.
Yeah, no.
My friend Jersey Kyle had handicapped that. He said he loved his horse. He's been following him. And, you couldn't complain. You couldn't cry about that.
The name fits. Wear it. I'm a Grouch. So I had some win place money on it. So I got a little bit back with the place ticket, but that's the thing, the momentum in this game. Because if that horse just won and I got my 700,
oh my God, you would have been.
I would have been rolling in it. Instead, I'm like a little bit.
You were rolling in it. Yeah.
I was also then
dog poop. Yeah.
Then I was a Grouch after that, and then I was trying to hit some things, and I cashed a couple of exactas. Actually, a nice exacta on Saturday early in the day. I liked Safi Joseph's Soul of an Angel that went off at like 20-1. I think it was a $46 winner. And I used that with 6 horses. I was alive in like some pick 3s rolling along and a pick 4 with this Safi Joseph's horse. But then the one tangential thing was like I was alive with like 6 horses in a double. One of the horses scratched. I got a consolation double. But then I have 5 of 12 runners. And look like I'm home free. That was the race where it was this like number 4 horse came roaring up the rail. That was like also 30-1. I didn't have the 4 horse. I had the 5. I had the 2. I had everything else that came in the picture that I would have gotten also between $600 and $900. I'm just whining like a little loser here, but nobody wants to hear it.
People are always thrilled, because they follow in every detail. Yeah, I had the 2 with the 4, 7, 8, but I left out the 9. I can't believe.
Right, I left out the 4. All right.
No one wants to see your losing tickets. That's the way I look at it, Mike.
Well, they're going to have to hear about it sometimes, especially when it's the difference between winning and losing, razor thin. We all know about that tomorrow, maybe razor thin. Or maybe it'll be a blowout. But bottom line is, I got blown away in the Breeders' Cup, but we have a contest winner who did not, and this is a good part of.
You didn't have Torpedo Anna?
Well, of course I did, but that was again one of those things where nobody wants to hear it. I had her singled in all kinds of tickets, and then it got blown up in other parts of things. Love Torpedo Anna. I'm so happy for my friend Nick Galati. Been a tough year. He's the assistant trainer to Kenny McPeak. They've had a tremendous year. That horse didn't break a sweat. She just won for fun. I love that horse. Very good filly. Definitely will get top filly honors this year. All right.
Good dining scene out there, though, Mayo. If you ever get a chance to expand your horizons to Encinitas, I ran into Jersey Kyle on my walk of life. He was driving by on Briney Avenue, and so we were talking a little bit about his trip. And I know the places because we've done this trip before a couple of years ago. And, wow, I mean, really, really, and a whole different thing, a very health-oriented dining scene in Encinitas, California, with a lot of really upscale stuff and a lot of casual stuff that is very, very good.
There's talk in my household of taking a trip out to San Diego area around the holidays. Maybe
you really should. Yeah.
Right after Christmas, maybe leading into New Year's because Val has some family out there. And
let me find out the name of that fancy place Todd Schrupp. I thought we were going to get Compton, where we got stuck with a bill for $500 for 4 people. But we did run into Bob Beffert that day, so it was a very popular place in town. Nice Italian restaurant.
There's worse things than having to pay for a good meal that's actually worth it. But yeah, well, Todd,
Shruppy, he had alligator arms when the check came. I think he was more stunned than anything else that a check actually came. And he was out of there like a shot.
So, all right, let's get to the contest. We've got the restaurant in honor of All Saints Day, which was last Friday. The restaurant bar in Fort Lauderdale where you could catch all the Saints game is Shuck and Dive. And that was the name of the restaurant. You've been there many times, right, Defo?
I've been there a few times. I wouldn't say many, but as I told you, I ran into the owner, a very festive guy at
Good people.
Cafe Seville one night when I was at the bar with the boys who went to Del Mar, Jersey Kyle and Evan and the crowd. And yeah, always a great place. And a lot of, you'll see all kinds of people in there, and it's
people.
recognized as among the best. And with respect to our good man, Tom Tanazzini, I think he would say this, that Shuck and Dive is very representative of New Orleans cuisine.
Very
as close maybe as you can come down here in a place that isn't like, I don't know if there are super expensive New Orleans restaurants here, but that place is great.
And we love Tom T. And I see he's on the chat line, and I believe he's still going to be doing that pop up next Monday, the 11th, at Brunello. Brunello? It's called, what's it called? Bruno is the chef, and the name of the restaurant, Lavello. My brain is scrambled from all the self-medication coming up to tomorrow. But yeah, Tom T, go on to his Facebook page, Tom's Louisiana Kitchen, if you want to kind of book your reservation for that next Monday. And if you want day-to-day good Cajun Cajun cuisine at Shuck and Dive, they do some good grilled oysters and crawfish in season. It's coming up. January is the start of fresh crawdad season, so that should be fun. All right, Shuck and Dive was the restaurant, and then we got to the Gulfstream race, which was the Armed Forces Stakes, race number 9. The winner was a little bit of a long shot. I think it was like 7-1 or so. Naughty Rascal, number 5. And of our entrants, only 3 people had it. So it came down to the Breeders' Cup Classic tiebreaker. Nobody amongst the tiebreaker crowd had the winner of the Breeders' Cup, Sierra Leone. There was only one person in the whole batch of entrants who actually picked Sierra Leone. That was our man, Don Jaffe. Unfortunately, he did not have the second component, which is what you need to get to the third component. So we had to have to come down to, of the 3 people who had the highest finishing horse, and the horse that she picked was Fierceness, who finished second. A very game performance after blistering fast fractions. I'm surprised Fierceness held on and was as game as long as he was, and that is a good horse, but did not win the race, came in second. But that was good enough for Marissa Chaplin. Hey. Congratulations. Hey. She's entered a bunch of times, sometimes DQ'd for being late, but this time she got to the church on time.
Congrats.
And I think it's a first-time win for Marissa Chaplin. Congrats. Hey. You and a guest. Sunday brunch for 2 at 10 Palms at Gulfstream, which is always a fantastic time. We had 4 winning groups go out yesterday, and I heard from one of them, Judy, Green-Eyed Girl, who was gifted the package from Bonnie DePacio. And Judy got back to me that she loved the day. She had a really good meal, and she ate an entire tray of brownies. Their desserts there are so good.
Yeah, they're baked goods.
And that is what they excel at. I am a sucker for all their sweets and desserts. And now, of course, with the ice cream sundae bar, too. It's a great place to go for any day there's live racing. And they're going to be open this year for the first time, Thanksgiving Day, with a Thanksgiving buffet earlier in the day. For the same special price of $55. And if you want to make reservations at 10 Palms for Thanksgiving Day or any live racing day with the Champions Meet coming up, just go online to opentable.com. All right. I think it's time we take our second break. And before we do, we're going to sing the praises of today's presenting sponsor, Tropical Acres. And do I understand correctly that one Mike Lubie Lubitson family will be going there tonight?
7:30 reservation. Very excited. My parents are ecstatic, and they're not people that get ecstatic. So I'm really happy that we're going to be able to take them out there and try and celebrate the end of the election season in style.
Will you be signing autographs and posing for selfies with people if they
I'm
say?
not you. No one people only recognize me when I do trivia because they hear my voice and they're like, I know that weird voice.
If you open your voice at the bar, people will be flocking and say, "Is that Lubie? Is that the guy
The
from
voice sort of gives it away.
Lunchbox?" Yeah.
I don't presume we'll see many people that know me, but I definitely I'm looking forward to some of the lobster and the prime rib and just the whole ambiance that is Tropical Acres.
Yes, and it's again the Twin Lobster Special is unbeatable value, $39 for two freshly steamed New England lobsters, flown in fresh with a salad and a side dish. Again, $39, and it's only going for a few more weeks. The last day that I heard of the Lobster Special is going to be Friday, November 22nd. So it's in its last weeks, and Luby, hopefully you will enjoy that. I enjoyed mine last week. They also have all your favorites like prime rib, filet mignon, rack of lamb, other seafood dishes, fresh fish specials. They do have stone crabs as an appetizer and main course. All the greats, great hospitality. We'll be in there with the Transworld crew later this month on November 18th, I believe, 2 Mondays from today. We'll be sitting down with Jack Studiali and his family once again, celebrating 75 years, and a great place to go for the upcoming holidays. They also have private dining rooms if you want to have a holiday party. And if you're looking to get in for Thanksgiving, very limited availability at this point, mostly earlier in the day, but give them a call, 954-989-2500 for your reservations. Again, it's the numbers on the crawl at the bottom of the screen, filling up fast. But if you want to get in there for Thanksgiving Day, 1 to 8 p.m., mostly available now on the earlier side. Tropical Acres. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. All right, let's take another break. Break number 2, if my counting is correct. And then we'll come back. We will finally get to the miserable Dolphins. From a scratch kitchen, delicious drinks and house-made spirits from a craft bar, a great vibe inside and out with a spacious patio. I'm talking about Batch New Southern Kitchen and Tap, Fort Lauderdale, in the heart of the city at 525 North Federal Highway. It's open 7 days for lunch, dinner, and weekend brunch with classics like fried chicken and waffles and shrimp and grits, and creative items like pecan-crusted salmon and a fried green tomato BLT. And the drinks? Smooth sipping and so good. There's convenient free parking and a garage next door, happy hour at the bar, an entire patio, 4 to 7 Monday to Friday, and live music every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It's pet and people friendly and with cozy fire pits for when the temperature dips. For reservations and more information, go to batchsouthernkitchen.com. If you like seafood in a comfortable setting, outdoors, even keel fish shack at the corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea, and also now with a new location on Las Olas Boulevard. Those are my spots. Upscale food in a down-home setting. The chef owners, Dave and Brad, do a terrific job with all the seafood classics that you want. They have the best grilled oysters in town, bang bang shrimp, lobster rolls, and deli fish specials. They also have weekend brunch Saturday and Sunday. They have deli happy hour 4 to 7, and they also have other weekly specials like mussels on Monday and oysters on Tuesday. Go to Even Keel Fish Shack and tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. It's a little further inland, Luke's Seafood and Grill. That's Luke's with a C, 5511 South University Drive in Davie. Luke and Roxy, they're a great couple with great food. It's a mom and pop shop bringing the freshest fish and seafood to Western Broward. Some of the best jambalaya and fish cakes around. And Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? You can find his famous Scoobies, those sauteed crab claws, right there on the specials board most days. Oh, so good. So take a trip to University just north of Sterling today. Lunch, dinner, closed on Mondays. Tell them Mike Mayo's Lunchbox sent you. When people come to me and say, Mike, where should I go out to eat? I got guests coming from out of town. Where should we go? Cafe Seville. That's the answer. 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. It's a Fort Lauderdale perennial. Serving the finest in Spanish and continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly, comfortable setting. Joey Esposito and Sally, his better half, they've been running the place for a long time. It's been open since the 1980s. They got great Spanish classics like paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, and all kinds of great seafood dishes. The stuffed veal chop, oh, that's my favorite. Go to Cafe Seville. It's open every day but Sunday at 5 p.m. for dinner. Tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. All right, we're back on the Lunchbox. I got a mouthful of food. Thank God it's no longer seafood month. I could eat some chicken for a change. Beautiful, spicy chicken cutlet parmesan from Heritage. And I think we're going to get into Heritage soon. Reno misses us.
Yeah, missed
And
that.
with the Visit Lauderdale Food and Wine Festival coming up, and they are hosting, as usual, the kickoff event Monday, January 13th. And this is a good time to talk about our friends, Phil and Kate. Visit Lauderdale Food and Wine Festival. VLFoodWine.com is the website. Go online now to get your tickets. I don't know if the Heritage dinner is sold out yet, but I do know this. I have a wonderful girlfriend and now partner. She went out and bought a pair of tickets for that Reno event because she knows that usually we can't get comps on those because it is in such high demand. So me and the lovely Val will be in attendance for opening night. And out there in Lunchbox Land, you can too. You can also check out the full retinue of events, private dinners, well, intimate dinners, we call it, and also all the big events, the grand tasting Saturday at the big beachfront park at Las Olas, and then the same location, there'll be a new Sunday brunch event on the 19th of January. Go online, VLFoodWine.com, get your tickets now. All right, now, Defo, I heard you this morning, and you were very optimistic, and like you were kind of saying, oh, the Dolphins acquitted themselves well. It was a great game. Which I agree with, but once again, bad teams find a way to lose, and they're a bad team, and they found a way to lose. I wish I could share your optimism, but looking at 2-6 today and the playoffs way out of focus, what say you about the state of the team right now?
Oh, it's unfortunate. I mean, you don't expect this team to be 2-6. I thought they were going to win the AFC East at the beginning of the season. Couldn't have been any more dead wrong about that. You see the difference with Tua Tagovailoa, so you're asking yourself, how could they be that far off and not having anybody that can back up Tua to the point where you could at least run some semblance of the offense McDaniels put in? They played a good ball game yesterday. I mean, if they were 5-2 going into that game and they lost like that, you would say, wow, okay, I can't wait for the playoffs. We'll knock them out, the Bills, and get our revenge. But unfortunately, they've been lousy all year. I don't know if they found a way to lose this game so much. They happen to lose. Came up on a short end. A lot of these games come down to one minuscule, miss here and there, or a call by a referee. This case, you get beat by that kicker, Tyler Bass. That they wanted to get rid of him. We were
61
talking about
yards. He drills it like it's nothing.
They could have had the Grammaticas in there, and they probably would have been better off. But nonetheless, I mean, it happens. That's sports. That's what makes it great. You could maybe take a look at the Poyer play where he gets hit with an unsportsmanlike, unnecessary roughness call, and that's been happening around the league. But it was definitely unnecessary because you didn't need to hit this guy in the helmet, with helmet to helmet. That put him in field goal range. But other than that, I mean, they did a lot of things there that you would hope to see from a Dolphin team.
That's the frustrating part. Is like, okay, Tua's back. The offense looks like they're competent and scoring again. They actually score a game-tying, a drive on the road. At best, you're hoping to just get it to overtime and take your chances. But every time now this year, it doesn't matter whether you're home or on the road, the defense, you just want – and they start that series with two great plays. They almost batted the ball and ran it in for the touchdown. If the quarterback, whose name I forget, I'm going to say Jim Kelly, but Josh Allen doesn't grab the guy, and I guess once the ball is tipped, you're allowed to do that. Yeah. The guy would have caught the ball and maybe run it in for a game-winning touchdown. Instead, once again, when the money's on the line, there's a huge penalty, and that sets up the whole thing. And it's just like we've seen this story before, and it gets so frustrating. And Lubie and I were communicating during the game. Why can't the defense make one big stop when they need it or get one big takeaway when they need it most? Do you have any answers?
It's all on Louie. Louie had a great dissertation this morning.
I just look. You said it. Bad teams. I don't find ways to lose, but bad teams don't play complimentary football for the first. Because even in the beginning, when Tua wasn't playing great at the beginning of the year, the defense wasn't horrendous. Look, the defense hasn't played well this year, but they weren't the issue. They were doing enough. They were letting teams move the ball, but they weren't letting teams put the ball in the end zone. and they were allowing their team to stay in it. Their offense just sucked, so they'd lose. Fine. So you're thinking, okay, if they can get an offense going, then they'll win some of these games. Well, the offense has been good the last 2 weeks. The offense moved the ball, controlled the clock, controlled the game. I mean, if you can run the ball and have nice sustained drives, you usually control a game. The problem is the defense literally, I don't know if they got to stop outside of the second drive of the game. Like I haven't looked at the
How
stats.
many last minute losses there have been? It's 2 weeks in a row where they've gotten field goals kicked against them to lose, right? Is there like another two? So they're looking like 4 out of their 6 losses are like heartbreakers at the end. Is that right? Something like that.
I mean,
That's the NFL, though. Almost every game comes down to a final play.
And I guess my question also is right now, who would you rather be, the Dolphins or the Jets? Who do you think is the second best team in the division?
I guess the Jets. I don't know. Don't the Jets have a better record? I mean, the Dolphins are.
To have to admit this.
At least their defense makes plays. Like the Dolphins, like that's my problem. Is if the offense goes down and gets that touchdown, you should be so jacked up. And they actually played pretty well. They forced Josh Allen to a tough throw with pressure into double coverage. I don't know. Look, I know that's Poyer's game. He's not the greatest in coverage. He likes hitting people, but it wasn't needed. Like that's the problem with that play to me. Is like the coverage was there. The guy wasn't catching that ball. Like if you want to come over for help, that's fine. Hit the ball. Like he laid the dude out and there was no reason for it.
Right. Why you go helmet to helmet there? It's like, it's just, he was
It was just weird. He wasn't trying to go helmet to hell. He flew in.
He's trying to break up a play, but you still got to be mindful of, whatever. It's just same old story.
The dude missed an extra point. He booted an extra point off the crossbar that luckily went in for the Bills. And Trent Green's like, well, they should be Hail Marying. I'm like, dude, if you watch the Dolphins, he's making this. Like, I had no concerns that he was making that kick. Right. The dude hit 61. I think his career high's in the 50s.
Right, and it just sailed through. It was good
like
from
10
65.
yards.
Yeah,
the dude looked like he was freaking Vinatieri versus like in a Super Bowl. I was like, oh my god.
We've had the other discussion we were having is what happened with the defense, because last year again they were pretty competent in a lot of places.
Van Ginkel,
and Van Ginkel, to me, Van Ginkel is one of those guys. He's like a Zach Thomas. He just had a nose for the ball, and he just like made. I like having him on my team. And then they have all these other guys that you can't depend on. Like you were saying, where's Chubb? Where's what's going on? I'm just frustrated.
It's just frustrating, and it goes back to both McDaniel and Greer. And I give people credit for not trying to blame the execs, but who else do you blame? I mean, they have talent, but at the core, the defensive line, I mean, doesn't get a lot of pressure. They were just, the coverage was an abomination. I mean, guys are just running. I swore it was like Little League. Like Mac Hollins shouldn't be running free. It's Mac Hollins. We had Mac Hollins. We've had him on our show a bunch of times. He was a really good dude, and he got the job done for the Dolphins as like the 5th receiver. Like Mac Hollins was their number 2 and was successful as their, like, it was really weird to watch them with thrown in parts get the job done versus defense. Yes, there's like 5 guys hurt and blah, 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 blah. Okay. That's everyone by the middle part of the year. Like it is what it is. Like you can't keep blaming that. Injuries are their big issue. They're always their big issue. So it's just,
well, now
they're a bad team. They're just a bad team. That's
now
what
they're up against it. They've got to win 4 in a row just to get back to 500. And that's kind of like akin to me on the later parts of Breeders' Cup Day, trying to chase all my losses. I don't think it's happening for the Dolphins. Hey, let's get to the Canes. Is there a worse undefeated team in college football?
I mean, look, I've been tough on them, but if you're watching what everyone's doing, they've come back. It's not like UM's done what they did and everyone ran away. It's the opposite. Like Carson Beck is not good. Like he was a dude that was going to be a 1st-round pick. He now has 3 games with 3 interceptions. For whatever stupid throw Ward makes here and there, he's not throwing 3 a game. Like, and he always matches it by coming right back with a huge play offensively. I mean, the Canes, look, the rest of the country's come back to them. Georgia's not scary right now. Texas isn't scary. The one team that's scary is Oregon. Okay, it's only one scary team. Ohio State really should have lost that game, but James Franklin doesn't know how to win big games. Like, that's the only reason Ohio State doesn't have 2 losses right now. Look, I've talked a lot of crap about the Canes because their schedule, I've never seen a schedule like this. I've never seen a team go an entire year without playing a ranked team. Like, I didn't know that was even freaking possible.
Yeah, how is that possible? Defo, did you watch the game? Are you a Canes fan this year? Do you think they will go far in a playoff?
I don't know. I mean, I'd like to see them challenged by somebody. I always factor in the crystal ball factor. I think that has to be considered. Worst game day coach we've seen in a long, long time. They got by with it. Butch Davis, one of my favorite guys, that coached the team, wasn't particularly sharp in terms of game day strategies and decision making and clock management, play calling, and all of that.
Kneeling.
But Cristobal may be the worst, and we saw the greatest example of it last year with that no taking of the knee and then losing a game in the final minute when you're up 2 scores. Yeah, I mean, they were impressive. I love Xavier Restrepo. I mean, being a Canes follower for the last 40 some odd years, right before when they were first formulating this whole thing of the 2 decades of dominance and the 5 national championships, was a big fan of Schnellenberger and his approach. And they've had brilliant wide receivers, but this guy, I mean, he has been so good and so amazing in clutch spots that has to be respected. So I'm kind of a fan of what they're doing. Cam Ward may win the Heisman. It's possible. So their offense is a lot of fun to watch. Look, at one point, I ended up with a small betting interest in Duke, getting 20.5. So at one point in the third quarter, with the Duke Blue Devils leading by 11 points.
Oh, geez, that was money in the bank, right?
I'm up 31.5 points to the spread in the third quarter.
They covered. They still covered.
They ended up covering by a point and a half. Yeah. So,
and is this the same Duke team that beat Florida State earlier this year?
Duke was pretty decent. I mean, they were in the same boat as a lot of teams that Lubie points out, where you haven't really played anybody of any great distinction, and you're 6-0 or whatever they were. But yeah, they came back to the pack. But wow, I mean, the Canes, once they get rolling, they're pretty good. So why couldn't they do something this year? I mean,
12-team playoff is going to be interesting. Lubie, I hate to rub it in, but it's official. My daughter, after watching Ohio State win, she did get admitted to Ohio State, chose to go to Florida State. She is going to be entering the transfer portal soon. And no, she's not. She's staying in Tallahassee because that's all that Dad could afford. But no, it's wow. Yeah, the less said about the Noles, the better. And we'll see if the Canes can avoid all the booby traps, because it used to be that, they would always throw in one stinker of a loss that you didn't expect.
Syracuse is the game because their defense is not good.
Defo's Syracuse.
Oh, yeah, Syracuse sucked again against Pitt a couple weeks ago, but it's the formula that they've struggled with. Their defense is not good. Their offense is. Their defense isn't. The defensive line does not get pressure like it's supposed to. The linebackers have underwhelmed, and the secondary might be one of the worst secondaries in the country. So Pitt that versus Syracuse, who has a good quarterback. McCord had a bad day versus Pitt, but that was literally one bad day the entire year. Like, he's been one of the best quarterbacks in the country. So that would be the last team in the regular season that, because of how their offense can play and because of how UM's defense can play, maybe they can't. And again, Cristobal does allow teams to hang around. Like, he just does. We'll see. We'll see.
It's going to be an interesting rest of the year for Canes fans. All right. We got to take our final break. Before we do, 2 more options I got to mention for the upcoming Thanksgiving holiday, which is going to be the latest it possibly can be. That would be Thursday, November 28th. One of them, if you want to cook at home, Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market is the place to go to get your fresh killed, farm-raised, big, plump, juicy turkeys. They are accepting orders right now. That's at 954-983-6831. Again, 954-983-6831 to order your holiday feasts, including you want to get some seafood, some great shrimp cocktail, Key West pink shrimp, stone crabs, whatever you want. Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market has everything you need for all the upcoming holidays. They're at 4191 North State Road 7 in Hollywood. We'll be in there a week from Tuesday to do our Thanksgiving feast. Gene will prepare some beautiful holiday turkey and all the fixins. And the second option for you, if you want to have a takeout bird, and if you're looking for a fried turkey, Batch New Southern Kitchen and Tap is the place to go. I don't think they're open on the holiday, but what they're doing is you can order their fried turkey dinner in advance. Just go on their website at Batch. What is it? BatchSouthernKitchen.com is the web address, and you could click right on the link to order your fried turkey package. You pick it up either the day before Thanksgiving. I'm not sure if you're going to have morning pickup of Thanksgiving, probably just the Wednesday. You pick up the whole package, you reheat it. Great stuff. And we're going to be feasting on the fried turkey this Thursday at the Fort Lauderdale Batch location. Brandon is going to be making a fried turkey for us, and
nice.
Kevin has offered me $1 million if I could take the whole big fried turkey in my mouth in one big bite, and that's not going to happen.
That's not even possible.
Don't think
Try.
that
Please
is
don't try.
physically possible. Not even the anacondas or the.
What's cool about them is you got it last year, right? They have instructions to pretty much everything they give you on how to cook it. And they know
Yes.
what they're doing. So
Yes, they do. And I had one last year. It was delicious, and all the trimmings and the side dishes. They make some special things. And of course, you bring home some of those biscuits. You can't beat that. Batch has 3 locations: West Palm Beach, Delray Beach, and Fort Lauderdale, 525 North Federal Highway. Go in there today and just have some delicious Southern cuisine, great cocktails. Whiskey Wednesday is every Wednesday night. And again, a good place to pick up your grab and go fried turkey dinners. All right, let's take our final break. And then, well, I guess we've gone politics free, so we'll keep that up, but we'll just have some final election day information after these words on the Lunchbox. Best restaurants in South Florida. Casa D'Angelo is always at the top of my list. First-class dining, top-flight service, elegant atmosphere, and chef-founder Angelo Ilia is legendary. The flagship in Fort Lauderdale has been serving the finest Italian cuisine since 1997, with other locations in Boca Raton and Aventura. As Angelo himself says, they have an unwavering commitment to unparalleled quality with meticulous attention to details. It's so good, with house-made pastas, pristine seafood, unique meats like elk chops and bison, and seasonal specialties including fragrant fresh truffles from Italy. All locations open 7 days for dinner. Reservations recommended. For a special occasion or any occasion, Casa D'Angelo. Tell them Mike Mayo sent you. Delicious Mexican food with innovative twists. Margaritas with a medley of tongue-tingling flavors. I'm talking about Taco Craft, Taqueria, and Tequila Bar. The place to go on Taco Tuesday and every day. It's located at 510 North Federal and Highway in Fort Lauderdale, and also in Lauderdale by the Sea at Plantation Walk, and soon in Coral Springs. Taco Craft has specials every day, including bottomless drinks for a Sunday brunch, and Taco Tuesdays with their $4 premium tacos, including their new birria tacos with bone marrow broth. Oh, it's so good. They've even made a taco lover out of me, and they've got so much more, including fajitas, that open-faced smashed cheeseburger tortilla that's new, and a guacamole sample that's an explosion of flavors. The kitchen is open late. There's delivery and takeout. For more information, go to tacocraft.com. Tell them Mike Mayo, the Lunchbox, sent you. Hey, it's Mayo for Gilbert's 17th Street Grill. You know me, I love family-run places with quality food at fair prices served with passion and pride. And that's why I love Gilbert's. For more than a decade, Lenore, Beth, and Richie Gilbert have been serving up the best burgers, wings, ribs, salads, and desserts. It's a fast casual spot. Everything prepared fresh to order from an immaculate open kitchen. They're at 1821 Cordova Road in Fort Lauderdale in the Cordova Shops just south of 17th Street. Open every day but Sunday. One of my favorite burgers in South Florida. Big, round, juicy pucks of 100% Angus beef, char grilled to perfection. And don't miss the sweet potato fries on the side. They're legendary. Go to Gilbert's, feast, and be happy. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. Prezzo Italian Restaurants. 2 locations. Boca Raton at Park Place on Military Trail, and Palm Beach Gardens in the PGA Commons on PGA Boulevard. Contemporary Italian cuisine with house-made pastas, wood-fired pizzas, salads, veal, chicken, and of course their famous focaccia bread with oven-roasted garlic bulbs. In Garlic We Trust is their slogan, and you can trust Prezzo for a great experience with gracious service and tremendous value. Open 7 days featuring brunch, lunch, dinner, and happy hour. Great wine deals and full bar at both locations. For reservations and more information, go to eatprezzo.com. All right, we're back on the Lunchbox. A little bit of overtime. Tomorrow is Election Day. There is no voting in Florida today. Early voting wrapped up yesterday. I believe both Lubie and myself have voted early this year. Is that correct, Lubie?
Oh, yeah, I did it the first day, last Monday.
I did as well. Defo, you are a traditionalist. You'll be walking to the church right next to your abode tomorrow and casting your ballot in person, correct?
Be walking over there right after I get done with the stuff we do in the morning, and I believe it'll be a no waiting situation. Roll right in, roll right out.
I hope you are correct. And if there is a waiting situation, you will wait as long as it takes.
I would crawl there off of my deathbed to get my
Okay.
vote in on this one. I
Well, my
definitely,
mother, rest in
after
peace.
all the attention I've paid to this, I mean, I've been following this stuff for years and always was big into election day. My dad, I told you,
Yeah.
used to hold the thing, and our big tradition in the family was
Drinking?
we would make a bunch of Jiffy Pop.
Oh, right. Jiffy.
Oh, nice.
Jiffy Pop, and we would eat it while we watched these election results. And I was always kind of wrapped up in it. I like the math and everything. So, yeah, looking very much forward to tomorrow and then the coverage that
Good,
follows.
good. My tradition since 1980 and Reagan's win has been drinking heavily on election night, either in celebration or in the morning. But all right, so a couple of reminders. Tomorrow, you must go to your assigned polling precinct to cast a ballot. It's on your voter's registration card. However, you no longer need to have your voter's registration card to cast a ballot. All you need to do is bring a picture ID, official government ID, either a driver's license. That is needed now to cast your ballot. If there's any confusion about your address or signature, you might be asked to cast a provisional ballot. Stand up for your right to vote. Make sure you are in the right precinct with an updated address, and then may the force be with you. Be patient if there might be some lines. Like I said, my city of Dania Beach has I think it's 17 city amendments on the ballot in addition to 6 state amendments. So it's like 23 verbose things on the Dania ballot. I expect huge backups and lines in that city. I'm not sure about different cities, what kind of particular ballot items, bond issues, local races, and whatnot. But it's a democracy, and sometimes we got to fight for it. The only other thing I'm going to say is, people act, they get certain people get uppity or say, oh, how dare this athlete talk about politics, or how dare this actor. Everybody can talk about politics. Politics, the word itself means people. The body politic means people. Anybody who's a citizen, anybody who's a voter has a right to vote and also a right to express an opinion. You might not agree with it. All right. Now, we've given some opinions here, but I'm never going to begrudge anybody, whether it's LeBron James, Taylor Swift, or Danica Patrick, the right to campaign and say whatever she wants to say. So that's just it. Don't get angry at people for expressing opinions. I prefer to get angry at candidates for behaving in certain ways and advancing certain policies, but I'll leave that alone. Since this is a sports and prognostication show, I do want to end with asking all of you folks, the Lubie and Defo, I want 3 predictions, and I'll give mine at the end. Where do you think we're going to end up on Amendment 3, which is the recreational pot amendment? Amendment 4, which is the right to control women's own bodies, also known as the abortion amendment. And finally, the presidential electoral college vote, not the popular vote, but who's going to win the electoral college. Defo, you want to go first?
I'm thinking the pot thing passes. I'm a little concerned because we're in Florida and the amount of money that was spent by the no on 4 people. That may not. I believe, do they have to get 60%?
60% supermajority. The ultimate irony, that was changed. It used to be amendments only needed a simple 50%, 50 plus, plus 1 majority. There was an amendment, I don't know how many years ago, back when I was a news columnist, that changed the threshold to 60%, and the amendment that ratified that only got a 56% approval.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is whatever you want to make
So
it.
Florida,
But yeah, so you're saying maybe no on 4?
I'm concerned about that. I think it's an atrocity that it even had to come up, which is why I'm hoping for a certain result in the presidential race, but I don't want to jinx it by making a prediction here. So I'm going to pass on that. I'm going to say the marijuana thing passes. I'm going to hope the Amendment 4 passes, and presidential race, you know which way I'm rooting for.
Well, we're rooting.
I think 3 and 4 pass resoundingly. It's just, you can see what the electorate is doing, and the women voting. The women are voting. I'm sorry for Donald Trump. The women are voting because of that. All the other things matter. They're all important. We've never seen this on the table in a presidential election in my lifetime. Coincidentally, we haven't seen women outvoting men by double digits in every state. It's not a coincidence. It is still the thing here. The reason that's even on the ballot isn't because of our government. It's because of the people. The people signed so many goddamn petitions that they got it onto the ballot.
Direct democracy, yes.
They're not going to then go, oh, screw voting for it. No.
Okay.
The voter turnout's been ridiculous in the state of Florida. Ours, D's, call it whatever you want.
Is being very optimistic in terms of
I think
what
3 and
he
4 are going to
wants
pass
see.
resoundingly. I think weed's going to be 80 to 90%, and I think the 4 is going to be 70 to 75%.
Okay.
And I think electoral's 319, 219 Harris.
Okay.
We're seeing some stuff that may actually be even bigger, but I'm trying to be as conservative as possible. It may be less than that. It's just when you see some of the stuff happening in the Midwest that's never happened, like it's hard for me to believe the other stuff isn't going to happen. So
ever since Roe versus Wade was overturned, there's been a lot of things on the ballot, and a lot of things people have basically stood up for their own rights, bodily rights, and not having government interfere in some things. We'll see what happens. All right, I'm going to go on the record because I do like, the old news columnist to me does like to kind of lay down certain prognostications. I'm going to say that the pot amendment, because it now has bipartisan backing, and even Trump is on record as supporting it, that it will pass. But it's not going to be 80%, Lubie. It's going to get about 65 to 68% of the vote. But the Amendment 3, recreational marijuana, will pass. And again, I want to remind all those people who's thinking about, the downsides of voting no. There is nothing in that amendment that precludes our state legislature from restricting public smoking of marijuana, indoor smoking of marijuana. What I didn't realize is that the Florida Indoor Clean Air Act only applies to tobacco products and vaping tobacco products, not marijuana. If you have a marijuana medical card, you're technically allowed to smoke it anywhere. They can change those laws. The legislature can change those laws. They can also change the laws about allowing home growing for personal use. So those things can still be in the hopper, even if the amendment passes. All the amendment does, it gives people, basically decriminalizes recreational use of marijuana, and also allows the established licensed dispensaries, medical dispensaries, to start selling it. But other things could also be allowed to start selling recreational pot as well. All right. Recreational pot passes 68%. I'm going to say the abortion amendment, unfortunately, is going to go down. Only 58% of voters are going to be voting for approving that. And there's been a very sustained effort, including by our governor, using some public funds, and also a lot of the churches have been really organizing and rallying their bases against the amendment. And for that reason, I don't think it's going to get to the 60% threshold. Which is really, I think, a shame. Again, as the father of a 19-year-old, soon-to-be 19-year-old college freshman, thankfully, we still have the means to exercise control over her body. That in terms of if she wants an abortion, she could travel to a state and get one. I mean, God forbid, I don't want that happening. I just hate the fact that in her home state, people want to put their hands, make medical decisions for them. All right. And finally, number 3, I've turned, Lubie, a week ago. I thought Trump was going to win the Electoral College, but they have botched things this last week it's just utter insanity. And the fact that you have not just, RFK Jr. Talking about how he's going to be put in charge of, health, Department of Health, and basically talking about prohibiting or banning vaccines and also banning fluoride in drinking water, which is something I didn't even realize that was a thing anymore.
Stop doing that. So
I mean, fluoride, the fluoridation of water has been an established practice in this country for over 50, 60 years. It has led to a decrease in cavities and a better oral health. And the only one who objected to it was Captain Jack Ripper in Dr. Strangelove, Purity of Essence, Peace on Earth. That's like Dr. Strangelove stuff. It's crazy to me. But between that and also now Elon Musk going around saying that he's going to be put in charge of this financial responsibility committee that's going to be slashing
the economy on purpose.
All kinds of that. Basically, he's saying there's going to be a lot of economic pain to everybody. And it's like, what kind of closing argument is that? It seems like, Defo, you talk about self-sabotage. What do you think of this whole campaign? Is this the epitome of self-sabotage? I don't know. We're going to find out. So I've turned. I think Harris is going to win. I think a couple of states are going to break the other way. And I think that Iowa poll that was very surprising that might be the thing all along that people in our orbit was saying. The media sometimes doesn't really tell the whole story. They want to keep the horse racing, the horse
Talking about it for
race
2 months.
head-and-head angle alive to keep ratings up. And maybe this thing is going to be not as close as everybody figures. So
Just vote.
I'm going Harris. I think the prediction is Harris is gonna win like 320 or something in the electoral college. But it's all meaningless now. Go vote.
Yeah,
Go
just
count
go
the
vote.
ballots,
That's
and
all you can do.
that's it. All right. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow at What's Up in Deerfield Beach, and then the drinking and self medication begins for election night. See everybody tomorrow. Enjoy every Saturday.